The Frog Prince by Brothers Grimm. Once upon a time, there was a king who had many beautiful daughters, but the youngest was so lovely that even the sun, which had seen so much, marveled whenever it shone upon her face. Near the royal castle lay a dark, enchanted forest, and under an old linden tree in the forest was a well. One hot summer day, the youngest princess went out to the forest and sat down by the edge of the cool well. She had a golden ball, which was her favorite toy, and she would toss it up in the air and catch it as it fell back down. She played with the ball for a while, but then, in a careless moment, she threw it too high. The ball flew past her outstretched hands and fell into the well with a splash. The princess watched in horror as her precious ball sank deeper and deeper until it was lost from sight. She began to weep loudly, and her cries echoed through the forest. "Oh, my golden ball, my precious golden ball, what will I do without you?" she sobbed. Just then, a croaky voice came from the well. "Why are you crying, beautiful princess?" Startled, the princess looked around and saw a frog peeking out of the water. "Oh, it's you, old water splasher," she said. "I am crying because my golden ball has fallen into the well." The frog blinked its big, bulging eyes and said, "I can retrieve your ball for you, but what will you give me in return?" "Whatever you wish, dear frog," she replied. "You can have my pearls, my jewels, even my golden crown." The frog shook its head. "I do not want your treasures, but if you promise to let me be your companion and playmate, sit by you at your table, eat from your golden plate, and sleep in your bed, I will bring back your golden ball." The princess thought, "What nonsense this silly frog talks. It just stays in the water with its own kind and croaks. It can never be a companion to a human," but she agreed to the frog's demands, hoping it would go away once she had her ball back. "I promise," she said. With that, the frog dived deep into the well. Moments later, it emerged with the golden ball in its mouth and tossed it onto the grass. The princess was overjoyed and picked up her ball. She turned to run back to the castle, forgetting all about the frog. "Wait, wait," the frog called after her. "Take me with you. I can't run as fast as you." But she ignored him and hurried home. The next day, as the princess sat at dinner with the king and all the courtiers, she heard a strange noise outside the door. Plop, 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 something was coming up the marble staircase. Then there was a knock, and a voice called out, "Youngest princess, open the door for me." She ran to the door and opened it a crack. There was the frog sitting outside. She slammed the door shut in fright and returned to her seat, her face pale. The king noticed her distress and asked, "What troubles you, my child?" "There is a nasty frog outside who retrieved my golden ball from the well yesterday. I promised him that he could be my companion, but I did not think he would leave the water and come here." Just then, the frog knocked again and called out, "Princess, princess, open the door. Remember your promise. By the well's water." The king, who was wise and just, said, "What you have promised, you must keep. Go and let the frog in." Reluctantly, the princess opened the door, and the frog hopped in and followed her to the dining table. He looked up at her and said, "Lift me up beside you." She hesitated, but her father gave her a stern look, so she placed the frog on the table. The frog then said, "Push your golden plate closer so that we may eat together." She did so, though she barely touched her food. The frog, on the other hand, ate heartily, enjoying every morsel. When dinner was over, the frog said, "Now take me to your room, so we may rest together." The princess began to cry, dreading the idea of sleeping beside the cold, slimy frog, but the king insisted she fulfill her promise. With a heavy heart, she picked up the frog and carried him to her chamber. She placed him in a corner, but he said, "I am tired and want to sleep in your bed. Lift me up, or I will tell your father." Angrily, she picked up the frog and threw him against the wall with all her might. "Now you will be quiet, you horrible frog." But as the frog hit the wall, he transformed into a handsome young prince with kind eyes. The princess gasped in surprise. "Thank you for breaking the enchantment," said the prince. "A wicked witch had turned me into a frog, and only the promise of a princess could set me free." The prince told the princess his story, and they talked long into the night. The next day, the prince and princess returned to the king, and the prince asked for her hand in marriage. The king happily agreed, and the two were married in a grand celebration. From then on, the prince and princess lived happily ever after, and the princess learned a valuable lesson about keeping her promises and looking beyond appearances. If you enjoyed this story, when you awaken, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more magical tales. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an adventure. Sweet dreams, and see you in the next story.